Contributing to the worldwide slide in share prices is the uncertain situation in the Persian Gulf. That took a new turn today when American warships shelled and destroyed 2 Iranian oil platforms and then raided another. It was in retaliation for the weekend missile attack by Iran on an American-flagged tanker. The United States says the platforms east of Bahrain were being used by the Iranians for military surveillance. The American warships gave the Iranians manning the platforms 20 minutes to get off, then opened fire.
Today, the Rostam rig, which U.S. officials say served as a small Iranian military base, burned out of control. The smoke could be seen for 10 miles, but the message was meant for Tehran, 690 miles away. According to U.S. military officials, the platform complex, which had not been used for oil production for at least a year, had become a radar-equipped command and control center for Iran's Revolutionary Guards. Today, the tables were turned, and the platform was virtually pulverized by the big guns from this armada of 4 Navy guided missile destroyers. These pictures were taken 90 minutes before today's attack began. The USS Kidd, Young, Leftwich, and Hull were closing in on their target halfway between the Strait of Hormuz and the Fao Peninsula. It was from Fao that Iran is believed to have fired the long-range missile which last Friday struck the American-flagged tanker Sea Isle City, wounding many of her crew. All strategic Iranian Gulf locations, including Larak Island, were on red alert. The Iranian Navy today seemed even more nervous than usual, challenging the cargo of commercial ships.
What's the nature of cargo? What do you have in containers? Over.
Iranian nerves later escalated into Iranian anger over the attack. Iranian TV tonight showed pictures of what it reported to be an anti-American demonstration today in front of the former U.S. Embassy in Tehran. The Islamic news agency said the U.S. has become involved in a full-fledged war with Iran. The Iranian president, Ali Khamenei, is quoted as saying, "We will retaliate. Reagan has made a very serious mistake." Although there's been little formal reaction from Arab states in the region, the initial informal feedback has been supportive of the U.S. retaliation. But few leaders in this part of the world would expect this act by America to go unanswered by Iran.
In Washington, officials are making no apologies for the attack, and they say the matter is now closed. And the British Prime Minister, Mrs. Thatcher, on a private visit to the United States, has lent her support to President Reagan, saying he has shown excellent leadership.
Mr. Reagan was going about town on routine business, not talking about the attack and not having to, with others to do it for him. How much ammunition was used?
About 1,000 rounds of 5-inch.
And how much of the platform remains?
Nothing. That's our information.
Mr. Weinberger had a picture of the platform before the American shells had made his point for him.
And what is important is for Iran to realize that they cannot make unprovoked attacks on neutral, non-belligerent, legitimate shipping in the Gulf without some cost to them.
The Vice President, playing host to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, chimed in.
Let's hope that Khomeini, irrational though he may be on some things, will get the message.
It was absolutely right. It was a measured response. It was directed at targets which were monitoring United States and other shipping, and which in fact were concerned in directing attacks at that shipping. So we're fully in support of President Reagan, very supportive of the action he's taken. We think it shows excellent leadership.
The Americans had a range of options, from doing nothing at all to attacking military targets on the mainland of Iran. They chose something in between and near the low end of the scale, of high symbolic value but little risk.
Against the Rostam oil platform, Defense Secretary Weinberger stressed the U.S. had chosen a military, not an economic target.
This platform had been used to mount radar surveillance, to report on convoy movements, to launch small boat attacks against non-belligerent shipping in the central Gulf waters, and last week to fire at U.S. military helicopters.
The operation appears to have been conducted with precision. 1/2 hour before the attack, the 4 destroyers deployed some 6,000 yards from the platform. 10 minutes later, the frigate Thatch began broadcasting warnings in both English and Farsi that the platform was about to be destroyed. The Iranians acknowledged the warning, and at least some of the 20 to 30 men on the platform were seen evacuating it. For about 45 minutes, the 4 destroyers blistered the platform with over 1,000 rounds of 5-inch shells. Navy SEALs were then sent in to destroy the underwater superstructure of the platform. After completing that work, the SEALs briefly occupied a second, now abandoned platform 5 miles to the east, destroying radar equipment and seizing some light weapons. There were no U.S. casualties. Ignored in today's attack were several targets of far greater military value, including the missile sites on the Fao Peninsula from which last week's silkworms had been launched, and the big military base at Bandar Abbas. Among the reasons, these targets would have been harder to reach, costlier in terms of U.S. casualties, and would have gotten the U.S. more directly involved in the Iraq-Iran war. Weinberger said even this more modest effort packed a message to Iran.
What is important is for Iran to realize that they cannot make unprovoked attacks on neutral, non-belligerent, legitimate shipping in the Gulf without some cost to them.
But military leaders are not predicting an end to the violence.
I think they're a little frustrated to find ways to genuinely hurt us, but I suspect they'll keep searching.
Whenever we are attacked, we are entitled to defending ourselves, and we are going to do that.